How's it going, everybody? It is the NFL Fanatic here with the first video on this YouTube channel, and we are starting off with a great series. We are going to be talking about the best possible draft through mock drafts for NFL fantasy football coming up. As you know, the NFL season is supposed to start in September, so weekly we're going to be posting picks 1 through 10, the best possible team, in my opinion, for each pick based on a draft that I made, just making sure that it's possible. So a few series rules I want to go over before we get into the actual team I drafted. There's 3 rules, as you can see on the screen right now. Not really rules, but they're just kind of like baselines for what the series is about. So obviously this is going to be based off a snake draft and ESPN Fantasy Football. So the way the players are ranked, that's through ESPN Fantasy Football. You can download the app, just type in ESPN Fantasy Football on the App Store and it'll show up. So, yeah, that's the first rule. The second is that this is going to be a points per reception league, meaning Christian McCaffrey is a lot more valuable, obviously because he receives a lot. That's just one example, but every time somebody catches the ball, they get 1 point added. So, you know, it makes people like Christian McCaffrey or somebody like Michael Thomas, who runs a lot of slants and catches the ball a lot more, rather than somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, who goes long and gets fewer receptions. It makes him very valuable as well. And the last one is that this is all opinion-based. This is just my opinion. If you want to draft differently in your draft, that's completely fine. And if you have anything that you would do differently, or like different who you would take in a certain pick, definitely let me know down below, because some positions I have a good idea of who I want already, because it may be someone that you can get later on, like quarterback we'll talk about, but there's a quarterback that I really like this year. So yeah, those are the league rules. Now let's get into the team. Okay, so with the first pick in this draft, we picked none other than Christian McCaffrey, run CMC. It's pretty clear who's going first this year. I don't want to spend too much time on McCaffrey. I am a Panthers fan. I'll get that out of the way right now. But this had no influence in who I was going to pick first. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is the clear #1 pick this year. He's a great running back. I think he's the second best pure rusher in the league, right behind Derrick Henry. I think just because Derrick Henry is bigger, he's stronger, he can rush for longer, even though I think McCaffrey's obviously he's a lot more versatile. He has better jukes, in my opinion. But McCaffrey is so great in points per reception, especially because he has a bunch of like short catches and just little tosses, and he gets a point for that even if he loses yardage. And yeah, the Christian McCaffrey, clear first choice. Let's get on to our second pick. With the second pick for our team, the 20th pick overall, I picked Austin Eckler. I really wanted to get some running backs right away. I always like to pick my running backs first, unless there's like a crazy good receiver, or like maybe if you come back in the 3rd round fast, maybe you grab Killer Kelsey, but those are the only exceptions. I love drafting 2 running backs first because I think they're the most important positions on a team. And Austin Eckler, I was fortunate enough to have him on my main team last year, and Austin Eckler is just awesome. I think especially he's going to be great this year because obviously Justin Herbert, rookie quarterback, coming to the Chargers, and I think to relieve some pressure, the Chargers are going to be running the ball a lot, so I think Eckler is a very smart decision for my second pick. And then our third pick, which was the 21st pick, so we're going back-to-back, obviously, in snake format, if you guys do not know. The first pick gets to draft twice in a row, coming back since you take so long in between picks. So for our 21st pick overall and our third pick as a team, we picked Kenny Golladay. I really like Kenny Golladay. I've been saying that Matthew Stafford was underrated for a long time, just because there's so many great QBs in the league right now. Kenny Golladay is a great receiver. He's good in all areas, catching short passes, long passes. I mean, a lot of these first picks, there's not much to say because there's not many people to pick. I was actually planning on picking Adam Thielen, especially since Stephon Diggs is gone now. I think Adam Thielen's going to get a lot more catches and a lot more time in the game. But I figured, you know, he got taken right before this, so I figured Kenny Golladay is a very good second pick. So now, second choice, sorry, the third pick. And now let's get into our 4th overall pick. With the 4th pick for my team, 40th overall pick in the draft, I decided to go with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is another player that I think is criminally underrated. I think he would be such a great receiver if he played for another team. Unfortunately, the Bears are cursed with having Mitchell Trubisky for their starting quarterback. But I do think if Nick Foles gets some starting time this year, I think he may do better. I mean, Nick Foles, is a really hit or miss quarterback. You know, some years he has a great year, he wins a Super Bowl. Some years he does not do too great. But I do think even if Mitchell Trubisky steps up this year, I think Allen Robinson will have a great year, and I think he is a awesome pick for my second wide receiver. So let's get into the next pick. So with my fifth overall pick, my fifth pick, sorry, I messed it up again. My fifth pick and the 41st overall pick in the draft, so this is right after Robinson. The next pick, I decided to go with Zach Ertz. Now, there are only 5 tight ends that I feel comfortable drafting for my starting tight end, and those are obviously Kittle and Kelsey, and then Zach Ertz, Mark Andrews, and Darren Waller. Any of those 5, I feel confident. Even Darren Waller, I feel confident with having them as my starting tight end. But a lot of tight ends in the league now are big question marks for me, like someone like Ian Thomas or even Austin Hooper. Ian Thomas obviously has been a backup for Greg Olsen for the longest time, so Ian Thomas could be the greatest tight end of all time, but he could also be one of the worst. You know, you really never know. We haven't seen too much out of him. And someone like Austin Hooper getting traded to the Browns, you never know how he'll transition into a new team. But I do like Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz he has really good hands, in my opinion. I like the tight end position in general. It's like such an important position, not only in fantasy football, especially this point per reception league, but especially in football. I feel like tight ends can really go off in certain games. You know, like a tight end can be a backbone of a team. If all the receivers are covered, you have a tight end right there. The tight ends usually don't go too far, making them get a lot of receptions instead of a lot of a little amount of long receptions. So yeah, I decided to go with Zach Ertz for my 5th pick. Next up, with our 6th pick for our team and the 60th overall pick in the draft, I decided to go with Terry McLaurin, the Washington blank. At the time of recording this, they're the Washington Redskins. I don't know what's going on. I've seen some rumors they're going to switch to the Washington Warriors and a few other names. I don't really know, but for now I'm calling him the Redskins receiver. Terry McLaurin is another player I feel like could be a lot better if he was on a different team or if he had a different quarterback. Dwayne Haskins is all right, but he's definitely not great. I'd give him a solid 4.5 out of 10. Terry McLaurin's pretty good though. He had 7 touchdowns last year. I think just over 900 receiving yards with around 60-ish catches. So I definitely think Terry McLaurin is a good pick, and he's a steal pick in a later-ish rounds like this. This is early to mid-round. But I do think he's going to be very good, and I have him at my flex position. The flex position is very flexible, which you can tell by the name, so I can switch him out any week I really want to. And I think he's a very great pick for the 60th pick overall. With our next pick in the draft, the 61st pick overall, so this was the very next pick, we got Cam Akers, the rookie running back coming out of Florida State, coming to the LA Rams. I like Cam Akers. I think he's one of the better rookie running backs coming out of this draft class. Cam Akers had, I believe, his last year, and then the year 2 years before that, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, which I really like. He over his years in college, he's been going up in receiving attempts, which I also like, in points per reception. I feel like the LA Rams he's definitely going to be valuable there, especially with Todd Gurley going to the Falcons. And I just really like Cam Akers. You know, picking rookie, I pick a lot of rookies. I think I pick one other rookie in this video. And then I've drafted from 1 through 10, all of my picks, and I like picking rookies in rounds like these because you never know when a rookie's going to have a breakthrough season, and I think Cam Akers is someone that could have a breakthrough season. So yeah, I was very happy with this pick here, and he could definitely be a starting running back or most likely a flex on my team. So next up, we have Julian Edelman. This was pick 80, I'm sorry. Julian Edelman, I feel like this was before, I drafted this before Cam Newton went to New England. I maybe would have passed on him then just because Cam Newton does a lot more rushing, but I definitely think he'll have a lot more complete passes now. But I don't think his team will need to rely on him as much. I do like Julian Edelman though. I think him and Cam Newton could be a nasty combination. I think Cam Newton, obviously with that foot injury. I know a lot about Cam Newton obviously, because I'm a Panthers fan. He used to be a Panther. I do think if Cam Newton decides to run just a little bit less and decides to rely on his receivers more, I think he could be. I think he would have a lot better, a much greater season. I'm sorry for stumbling over my words. But if he does decide to do that, obviously Edelman would have a better year. So yeah, I drafted Edelman, and I'll stay with that decision for now. Next up, with our 81st pick, this was right after Edelman, we have his old friend Tom Brady. Now, when I said there was a quarterback that I really like in this draft, this fantasy football draft class, yeah, Tom Brady's it. I think Tom Brady, a lot of people saying he's washed, and I agree, he's definitely not as great as he used to be, but oh my God, he has so many targets on the Buccaneers. He has Chris Godwin, one of the best receivers. Like, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are both best receivers, some of the best receivers in the league, but I think Chris Godwin is just a little bit better. He has Chris Godwin, he has Mike Evans, two of the best, definitely the best receiving core in the league. With that, like, there's an argument for either of them to be the best receiver in the league, although I have them 3 and 4. I think D-Hop and Michael Thomas are better. And then he has Gronk, so even if he doesn't fit in with that wide receiver core, he has someone he's familiar with. Like, it's just, it doesn't get much better than that. And people saying Tom Brady's a system quarterback. Yeah, I mean, we'll see with Cam Newton, right? But I do think that, obviously, he's the GOAT, and I do not think his days of being great are over quite yet. All right, now with the 100th overall pick, we have Golden Tate. Golden Tate's someone, I mean, you know, it's just, you need a receiver in a late round, you pick Golden Tate. There's not much to say. I think he's great. My descriptions of players are going to get a lot shorter down this point because they're obviously going to probably be on the bench for most weeks. Golden Tate's someone I think I could put in at flex, and I think he's a safe bet for a starting receiver during a bye week or during an injury. I just think he's pretty reliable, so I picked him. All right, that's it. Okay, so around here in every video, around the 100th pick, I'm going to be going over people in threes just because it's going to be a lot faster. And like, you're going to be able to see 3 people on the screen because I want this to be a video where you could watch it weeks in advance, or you could watch it right before a draft, and you'll know who you want, at least an idea if you want someone's opinion. So with the 101st pick, this was right after our last pick, I grabbed Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is a third receiver for the Cardinals. You know, if D-Hop or Larry Fitzgerald gets hurt, he's going to be a lot better. I mean, Kyler Murray, I feel like he's going to be using options more. Now that it's not his rookie year, he's going to not just be rushing a lot, he's going to be passing a lot. And even though he does have D-Hop and Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk's a great third receiver in my opinion. So I figured just keep Christian Kirk just in case. Then you got Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is an ideal backup quarterback. I really like Daniel Jones. Obviously, going into his second year, I think he's going to be more comfortable with this team. And I think he's going to have a great year this year. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Not like crazy great, not like RG3 great. That one year that RG3 was great, but I do think he's going to have a good year. And then you have Matt Breida. I mean, Matt Breida being able to take some pressure off of Tagovailoa, I think it's a good option. I mean, there's not much to say about these picks. You know, they're on their bench for a reason. None of them are too great of players. Sorry for stuttering there. But yeah, I think he's good for a like 5th running back on my team. Okay, so now I want to talk about my favorite part about having the first pick in the draft. Obviously, besides your first pick, it's going to be you have your selection of defenses. On obviously, if everything goes to plan and people wait to the end to get defenses as they usually do. So I decided to get the Steelers defense and the Patriots defense. Steelers defense, awesome defense, speaks for itself. Patriots defense, awesome defense, speaks for itself. Obviously, you know, I'll speak for the Patriots defense, though, because I think it's so good. Stephon Gilmore is awesome defensive player of the year, and I think he's going to have another great year, maybe even better than last year. I mean, we'll see. And then for your kicker, grab whatever kicker you want. Doesn't really matter. Kickers are very, very unimportant on fantasy football teams. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, consider subscribing. Please leave a like. Comment down below if there's anything you would change about this draft. If you have any questions about who's available during a certain pick, I save screenshots from all of my picks, so I'll be sure to let you know. And yeah, obviously, thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video coming next week. Here's a little sneak peek of the thumbnail for next week's video about the second pick draft. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.